Hey superstars, welcome to the Get Rich Without Being a Bitch podcast, and I am your host, Vanessa Shaw, for this journey. We're going to be challenging some stereotypes, shattering glass ceilings, really looking at what it takes to live richly and to design a business that's going to support the life that you really want to be living. I'm going to be sharing lots of tips, tools, and strategies along the way, and I can't wait for you to join me on this journey. Hey superstars, welcome back to another episode of Get Rich Without Being a Bitch. And we're going to be talking about fees again today. One of my favorite topics, in all honesty. And I know that the idea of flat fees can be really appealing. Majority of women are still charging by the hour, and that definitely has some limitations. And flat fees can feel like, oh, this is like the best thing. I won't have to, be billing, defining every single thing that I'm doing. The client buys a product, a finished thing. It's easy on invoicing. And yes, a lot of those things are true. So I want to be really transparent here. We get a lot of our women-owned law firms to move over to flat fees, monthly recurring retainers as well, or a blended model. But there are also some limitations around flat fees, especially when they're not set up correctly. So this is what I want to chat to you about today so that you can start to think this through differently, because flat fees could be harming you. Now, why might that be? So scope of work, right? If you're all of a sudden you're taking on the wrong clients, and there's too many emails, there's too many phone calls, they're late, they don't deliver the things that you need in order to do the work, right? Or rescheduling meetings, right? They can take up a lot of time, and scope keeps creeping as well, right? All of a sudden, that flat fee model, you can find that it's actually taking you considerably longer. And if you were to translate it back into an hourly rate, it would be considerably less the rate that you would charge by the hour. So that's one thing. And that often happens when we don't have the best fit clients. Equally so, flat fee, when you've just grabbed a price out of the air because it sounds good and it feels good. And I don't say that lightly, because oftentimes I'll say, well, what went into the, what were all the thoughts process behind coming up with this number? And it honestly has been a little bit of I saw somebody else doing this, or that number felt good, but like the strategy behind it is lacking. And what is the strategy behind it? Well, you need to actually be measuring like what a typical case or a typical client actually takes in terms of your time, in terms of team time, the admin, all of the things. Do you really have like an honest overview of it? Have you recorded that? And have you recorded it, tracked it multiple times so that you know where that typical average lies, right? The other thing around that as well is often what's not built into that model is, have you priced it for profit? Have you actually got a buffer in there so those incidentals or the things that happen, you're covered for? Right? So that all of a sudden, if a client does need more time or something takes longer, there's a buffer built into it. And again, often with that flat fee as well, it's like, have we really positioned it as value-based, right? Have we positioned it around the outcome that you deliver? Or does it still look like it's flat fee for a certain amount of hours? There's actually quite a lot of strategy that actually goes into successfully setting up the flat fee. The other thing around that is there are certain areas of the law that it works really well for, right? Some of those things that are very predictable, that you can have a more systematized approach to, very repeatable, right? The flat fee can work there. But then there are those things where, divorces get messy, or all of a sudden you're into something with your clients and you've just discovered it's way more complex than they originally presented with. And don't you know that happens quite a lot as well? We've got to have a safety net in there whereby you can adjust the fees or go to some hourly rates for some of those unforeseens, right? Now, again, I'm giving you some of the truth of what happens. I have had attorneys that have actually put all their service agreements together for those exact reasons. And they have talked about when it goes over this or these amount of revisions, we will then charge by the hour, or, if the scope of work creeps, we will need to come back, but they don't enact it, right? So it's even in their agreements, they've gone as far as that, but yet when it happens, they don't have the conversation. And this is where you've got to hold yourself accountable, right? If you've put it in your service agreement, there's a reason for it. And it's very reasonable conversation to go back to your client to say, we are beyond the initial scope of our agreement, right? We've discovered that this is going to take longer and we now need to move this to the hourly billing model. So I really encourage you to, think back through those flat fees. Go back, track them. Have you really looked at absolutely everything that you do for the clients? As I say, all of those details, the phone calls, the emails, the work behind the scene. Is it properly captured? Have you priced for profit? Right? Because you've got to build that in as well. You've also got to think about those buffers, right? Those extra pieces, so that you're not so tight on your flat fees that you've got no wiggle room. And frankly, it's still not going to get you to your financial goals. Because I know that you're going to do way better work when you're less stressed, right, about the financials. You're able to serve your clients in a better way. I'm excited for you. I'm excited to be on this journey. If you want to have more tools and conversations and some specific action steps about how to take your firm to the next level, check out the New Legal Collective in the notes below. It's a new free online community where I'm going to be working directly with you once a month to take your firm to the next level. It's going to be a powerful community of really great women that are up to big things in law. And there's also going to be opportunities for you to make power partners and start to build your referral system as well.